I'm just saying. All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of OD Podcast.
Howdy.
This week we have a special guest.
Yes, come on, Danny. Come on in. Come on in. We got Danny from Makeup Pays My Bills. So give us like a brief, so for people that don't know you, give us a briefing of who you are, what do you do, etc. All those things.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me, and hello to everyone.
You're so welcome.
So my name is Danielle Peebles. I am the owner and founder of Makeup Pays My Bills. A little bit of background is a little bit of a background. I am an ex-corporate trainer / area director for every company you can think of. I've worked for MAC Cosmetics, Anastasia, anybody you can think of, NARS. I've worked for them at a good capacity. So basically, I have a corporate background in cosmetic training and then retail sales and television and film work. So it's probably how I met, all of you.
Resume.
Yeah.
Resume is going off.
It's cute, huh?
Okay.
So basically that's a little bit about me, a little bit about my brand. Makeup Pays My Bills is basically a community of makeup artists. And it's not, just a certain type of makeup artist. The purpose of me sharing with you guys what my history is because I've worked makeup basically every capacity. Yeah. And I felt it was a need for a community so that there with no hierarchy, no one's acting pretentious, no one's acting crazy, some type of structure. So it's a brand within a brand. It's basically, merch, but it is first and foremost a community for makeup artists, a collective safe space for creatives. That's what it is.
So I'm gonna tell you how I was introduced to your brand because somebody was being shady. They weren't trying to share the wealth. I was on set of a movie. And when I got there, everybody was walking around with Makeup Pays My Bills cups, phone cases, everything. So I'm like,
what's tea?
Y'all left me out. What's the tea? Where y'all get that from? I was like, so where you get that from? Nobody wanted to tell me. They was like, I got it from this girl or whatever. She sell them. I was like, well, where can I get it? I want it. It just looks so cool and so polished because just imagine being on set of a movie and they have uniform T-shirts and
that's what I was just thinking.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, shoot, what?
Don't leave me out.
Yeah, you got some loyalists. They ain't want to share the love.
They ain't want to tell me. I'm like, so is it like a secret society I want to join? What's the
it's absolutely the opposite. And it's so funny because the following has grown. Even though it's a smaller following, it is a very concentrated, very powerful following. So many, different people from different aspects of the MUA realm. And that's another thing that I did notice as well, Draco. A lot of people, when I first started it, I would mail out promotional merchandise and they would wear it to big events and things and they wouldn't tag me. And I would be like, but that goes to show that it is a badge of honor. So that was kind of the psychology behind it. A lot of times people discredit creatives, right? They always think whether you are a makeup artist or you do hair, people don't take that serious. People think, discount it as a hobby, and I got sick of that. So it's kind of the idea behind it so that, it's an empowerment. When you wear it, this is what I do. This is how I make my income. A 9-to-5 pays you, makeup pays us. So basically put some respect on our name. That's what it's about.
Period. And that's what I take from it too myself. I take pride in wearing my hat and my shirt. I definitely wear on set of videos and stuff. Now I remember one time we had to work outside in the hood. The video was in the projects and people was like, oh, he letting you know at the door that Makeup Pays his bills. I'm like, oh, okay. I had overheard the security talking about it, so I looked and I just laughed at him. Then this other lady, she didn't even know my name. She just kept calling me Makeup Man. I'm like, oh, okay. But we definitely both want to get inside your brain because it's a lot of stuff that I want to know about you and about your brand and just about, your experience in the industry and outside of the industry as well, just in your everyday life. But first, we do have a segment of our show called
Shop Talk.
Shop Talk. Look, why I had a brain fart.
Oh, I love this.
We don't really have a jingle yet for Shop Talk, but
just make it.
This is working. Like this whole
every
little
time.
something, I'm here for. I like it.
Yes. So I think that we should. So this is our segment where we talk about what's going on in pop culture, and I think that we all just probably want to address the elephant in the room at the moment.
Zoo.
The Kanye West.
The Stampede.
Yeah.
He's a Kanye
So,
West.
Yes.
what are y'all thoughts of that?
I knew it.
You know what? This is what I'm gonna say.
Go off. Come on. Give it to me, sister.
I wish that no, seriously, I do sincerely feel terrible for him. I'm almost fearful for him because even for the not last night, but the night before when he had his rant, I was really fearful that he would harm himself. Like for real, I really felt like that. Like and what we only saw was what he was able to compose and tweet. So we don't even know how he was acting or where he was around. Was he harming himself? Was he throwing? You know what I mean? It's just a really serious thing. And I think that when it comes to social media, you make yourself more vulnerable to like scrutiny and judgment. And we know that much. And Kanye has been somebody that has easily garnered a lot of attention. But I think it's to the point where it's not like entertaining. It's a big deal. So I think number one, I want him to get some help. I need him to like let this presidential campaign thing go because that was embarrassing. And
that was the thing. Like he was for real.
He was this, and it's funny because he was serious, but not really. Because before the press thing, I guess the town hall, he hadn't even like solidified himself as a candidate. Like he didn't even.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't go. He just
threw a function and just was like, here we go. But it's tough though sometimes because even though after not last night, the night before, after his little rant, he deleted the tweets, and I mean I say little rant, but his outbreak, his I don't know, episode. Rant. Yeah. Then he's like, album coming soon. And now I'm like, okay, is this intentional?
I know.
It's really hard to really tell. And then, last night, I'm just like, I need him to get some help, but I need him to have some people that around him that truly care about him. I know we say that about a lot of people that need help, but I don't think that the family that he has right now is not.
Yeah.
It's giving get out. It's giving get out.
Yeah.
And then get out for me.
That was the craziest part because my thing about it is it's crazy to see that he actually the way that we think about him and how his family is, he actually thinks the same thing. Like
and we just know what we see.
Yeah. So the fact that this is like embedded in his brain and he really does think the way we think, it's like, okay. So realistically, he's not all the way gone. He's just it's something there that tied him to that family or to Kim.
I just feel like I don't understand why better precautions aren't being taken as far as, you know what I mean? This is not, I still feel like it's a house divided. Like as a married woman, I feel like it's not functioning in a marriage. Does that make sense? Like
I never felt like it was a true marriage. And then honestly, and I know Kim may have said she had health issues before, but I'm like, she didn't even carry all his kids. You know what I mean? So there's like some disconnect there. I've always been like weird about their marriage and legitimacy and how serious it was. Because
it seems like a house divided, right? It just seems like, it's the Kardashian brand and then there's Kanye West. And then it's like when he messes up, I feel like she goes recluse. And you know what I mean, kind of leaves
or just carries on like it just like nothing happened. Because from my understanding, she was still posting like while he was going through his rant. I don't follow her
random stuff.
Yeah, so I just
as usual. She was like,
and I don't, people. I know that some people like, oh, don't blame the Kardashians or with the Kardashians, but I know if my husband was out here doing things that were not healthy or conducive to his career, I would step in. But it kind of seems like it's like, well, that's Kanye.
It's same. That's how I feel. I agree 1,000%. I feel like there is a house divided and, folk have their business. But I think really in the industry, you really should be protecting your counterpart because if you're a unified front,
the business,
what he does is going to make you look crazy and vice versa, not just being aloof and oblivious. Like you don't understand what's going on. If he needs help, he really needs help.
And we know this is going to be on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So it's like...
Is it footage?
Right, I'm sure.
Or
allegedly he's in Wyoming and they're in Calabasas. So I don't know.
They'll tape their reactions and stuff and what was going on.
Yeah, oh yeah. Their part is probably going to be on there though. But he did say that Kim tried to send people out there to to get him to lock him
As she
up.
should have. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't doing nothing wrong, but
not lock him up,
imagine.
but like he needs some
Yeah, get
help.
him some help.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just
Mhm.
imagine going through like an episode and then people are coming at you trying to apprehend you. Like, I know that would probably scare him off. And
Mhm.
he's just such an aggressive person naturally anyway that
Mhm. Mhm.
they're probably scared. She probably scared as hell because she probably don't know what the hell to do
He
either.
don't know what to do.
Yeah, she like, I don't know what to do.
Between the two of them, they got enough
Yeah.
money to figure out a camp. Cherry
Yeah.
pick a camp. Where's Olivia Pope? Olivia Pope's this. Where's
Somewhere
Olivia
with Black China, child.
Hmm.
Who knows?
Figuring it out. So yeah.
I just think that's crazy. I do notice one thing that I did say was the reaction from the people that I didn't really appreciate, just because, you know, I understand the things that Kanye have said and passed and all this other shit, but I think for me, I've seen a lot of people being very laxed about it. Like, they were like, "Oh my God, he needs so much help. He needs so much help." But
Mhm.
realistically, it's so many people who have these type of episodes in the industry, and they don't get the same
And in the
treatment.
Black community, and they sweep it under the rug.
They just
and
call
it's
him
really-
crazy or laugh at him.
Yeah.
Make it
They
worse.
either laugh at them, they call them crazy, they cancel them because of stuff they say. But I think that if y'all are gonna treat him like that, and I don't have no problem with Kanye, I actually really love him, but it's, you know, if you're gonna treat him like that, you should have that same energy around the board, because realistically, what is he doing? What is he doing that is different from Azalea Banks? And he's probably done stuff way worse than her. And said stuff way worse. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's definitely been like a little bit more direct and a little bit more like aggressive towards people in general, like directly to them. But I do think that it's very similar in their response to stuff. Like, they are just ticking time bombs. And you can tell that both of them are mentally ill. So
But
I
the
think
thing is, yeah, I agree with you. I feel like we, just like you said, we should take the same initiative, because a lot of times in the Black community specifically, I can't speak on any other community because I'm Black, but you know, they sweep it under the table. Like, that's just the thing, and that's not okay. Like, and if he does need help, proactive measures should be taken as opposed to ridicule. You know what I mean? Like, just seeing in the news, and I just feel like it's kind of toxic.
It's very toxic. I just would love to be a fly on the wall in that house. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I wouldn't, because I feel like it's giving get out.
It's always giving, it's gave, and it's redistributing. It's a supply chain to get out. But no, you're right though. I just, it's just so many things. Like, and I know Kanye is a very unique individual, but man, it's like, there's no way y'all couldn't have seen something like this coming. Like, you know what I mean? But we just outsiders looking in. But I just feel like it's worse than we think it is.
They reported it to TMZ about 3 weeks ago that it was on.
Remember, he did an outburst like this, because I believe in patterns and cycles.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, remember he did this like probably 3 or 4 years ago, like at that concert, he had like an outburst.
And he left. Yeah.
Remember
that when Cam got robbed?
It was this is too much. Because I thought about, like, they're just a lot together.
Yeah. I agree. And
I remember that he did that. You know, it was a rant then, and people were trying to ostracize him, and he kind of came back, and he's like, "Oh, you know, I got help." And then people kind of called the dogs off. But I feel like this is the same vibe. Like,
did you get help, or did you just get a few pills?
Right.
Because he definitely was on opioids for a minute, because he definitely said it. Around he came clean about him having lipo twice. He was on opioids. So yeah, it's a lot.
It's just a lot.
It is a lot. I genuinely wish him the best. I need him to get a divorce. I need him to be around more like-minded individuals, and I want him to have a peaceful relationship with his children, their grandmother, and their mother.
Yeah.
Right. So what happened? Now the messy side of me wants to know what happened with Larsa Pippen, because
people saying that she might have been messing with Tristan Thompson, and they played cool with her, and but they made that big deal about Jordan. Jordan liked the tweet that said that.
Yeah, and they unfollowed Larsa. All of them unfollowed her.
After this, or when?
No, I guess people are just now realizing that all of them don't follow.
I don't know enough about that. So they were
like, and then what are they gonna do? Are they gonna cause a brigade? Like, are they gonna start?
Yeah, I don't know. See, I watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So Larsa I won't say that she's a big part of the show, but she's one of Kim and Courtney's like really close friends. Like, she's really close to them.
Did you see Larsa was hanging out with Taina and Young Miami?
She's a weirdo.
They
Like,
was like, is she gonna take you out to the movies?
I'm sorry, Larsa Pippen is a fucking weirdo. I watch that show and I say this shit all the time because I'm like, honestly, I think that Larsa hyped them up to get them braids in their head because she would come on the show with the braids, and I guess they just seen her like her because she's very
Culture.
like that ain't even no. Listen, that ain't culture. I don't know what it is. That's rat poison. It's given like it's like she has like a attitude about her that's very like boss, like, and you can tell. And compared to Kim and all them, they're kind of like chill. So they don't give that, but when she's around the group, she's very aggressive. She has to be like the leader, and like that's just her personality. And I always said, I'm like, I feel like Larsa got the ass with them braids, like, because she would be on the episode, they would be going to the beach, and she would have her cornrows, and she would just think she was DMX. It was just giving that.
DMX.
She would give that.
Yeah, Draco.
She was giving.
I need. Oh Lord, what if
So,
I
don't know.
stuff like this make me want to be regular forever.
Yeah,
like I want to be
honestly,
successful, but I want to be very, very grounded.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like this does make me just looking at this stuff happen. Not even with just her, just even with this situation with Tori and Megan and like a lot of.
It's just a cancer culture. It's like
it makes me want to just sit behind the scenes because it's almost like, even though before your life is definitely in the forefront, but I think with social media and so like quick access to stuff, like people can easily upload something in 3 seconds and your life is ruined.
Screenshot, screen record.
It's a mess, and it's like I don't want to say because I know me. I definitely have a lot of times where I say stuff and then I have to go back and be like, you know what?
Sometimes I think that about the show. I'm like, how's that gonna age?
Yeah, yeah. Like I'd be like, I was wrong.
I should have to think that because I know I'm a pretty unfiltered person.
Draco said I was wrong.
Yeah, I be having to sit back. I'm like, dang. But I shouldn't feel bad about it. I mean, I'm a human being. I can make a mistake, or I just need to learn something. I was probably ignorant about it, or I looked at it a certain way. But I feel like I should have the right to make a mistake and come back and rectify it. Like,
without that to an audience of multiples of millions of people. That's the problem. Too much access. It's too much business.
That's where a camp comes in, you know, like a damage control camp. And what happens is just like, you know, I hate to bring up the B. Simone thing, but that's the importance of making sure that you have the proper people in your camp. If you had the proper people initially.
It was at Camp Best Friends in that situation.
Ooh, look.
They need to be at.
Wait a minute. Danny, where are you from?
Detroit.
Okay, so in Atlanta, in the hoods, every hood had a recreation center, and all the recreation centers would have Camp Best Friends.
It's free.
That was the name of it. It was free. It was the most hoodest camp ever.
I never went. I wish I would have went. I would have had.
I wish I would have been able to go. I wish we had something like that.
1 year, it was so ghetto.
I used to go.
That's why I would have been in attendance.
It was so ghetto. But you know what? They used to have the fire field trips though.
Yeah, they was all the field trip. They had the T-shirts and everything.
Yeah, that was like the only camp they used to take. They keep people to like Six Flags and all the other stuff. Like that was the only camp that did
all the cool.
So the fact that you said that B. Simone is a part of Camp Best Friends, you should see.
I need a little camp. Little camp never heard
me. Girl, listen.
All right, let's go to the next segment.
Are we going to the next segment? So we just gonna leave Kanye for the whole.
Listen, I'm just standing by for updates. That's all I can do. Yeah. I can send prayers up. I can't. I can just hope that I don't open my phone and see something crazy.
I don't want this to be a publicity situation.
Exactly, and it's hard to tell with the affiliations.
So I don't know.
Hollywood is a hell of a drug.
Yeah,
it's a mess. So we're gonna get into some things. We're gonna get into Makeup Pays My Bills. So I know that we both have a lot of different things to ask you, just about, like I said, about you, your personal life. Not too personal, unless you want to take it there. But we do want to ask stuff about your business and like, you know, what you did to get started. I don't know if you had the same. I started my business for $500 and a dream story that everybody has. I don't know that.
Mine will probably be a little different.
Okay. But Alicia also brought up the fact that we should ask you about separating your personal brand with the brand that pays your bills. And it could be both. I feel like you get paid for both, you know?
You're
Well,
right.
so are we talking about as far as like, so my brand as far as makeup, like
Yeah.
my makeup branding business, and then my
Personal brand.
aesthetic? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll answer that first. So I think it's super important to establish brand identity. So I was also, my undergrad, I was a computer science major. And then I attended, like when I studied for my master's. Yes, that's why I'm a little nerd. Just a
I live for that, baby.
so I feel like, working at the retail capacity, it taught me a lot about marketing. So I studied marketing for a bit, like with my master's. And then I was like, let me see what actually works, like what is going to happen and what's not going to happen. So I learned brand identity. So brand identity is so important to establish because let's think about an Instagram page. Let's take that for example. So you have an Instagram page. Maybe you didn't start a business, it's just you. So maybe just Danny, right? Maybe that's just the Instagram page. And you decide, like, the people that follow Danny, that's who they want to see. So if you introduce a product, people didn't sign up to see that product. Does that make sense? So
That's
when
very
you
true.
established your brand identity, you established just Danny, that's where they're getting ready to see. That's who they're anticipating on seeing. So then when people start to lose followers, people start to get discouraged, but you have to think about the psychology of who's following you. And brand identity is the first thing. So if you're going to post, that's why I always tell, when I coach everybody that asks questions or if I do consultations, establish brand identity. So your personal situation is your personal situation. If you want to post ratchet stuff over here or whatever, which is what I enjoy doing. So post it on, your personal channel. But as far as your business, if you anticipate being respected as a business woman or man, you need to make sure that the aesthetic is there. You need to make sure that the professionalism is there, and you need to make sure that the community or like that fabric is there, like that community piece is there. So that's my 2 cents on that.
I totally agree. I actually started a brand. It's all over the place. And I remember when I initially did it, I was like, I don't want it to be affiliated with my name. But for the same reason, there are people I follow who I love, seeing their kids, and now they selling NutriBursts. And I'm tired of seeing.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to see both of y'all.
Now I gotta
mean, which one is it?
Exactly. And so when I first started so my brand initially started around me being a solo traveler, but to me that went well with my personal brand, like who I am day to day, because that's just what I do for fun, and I just end up blogging about it. But when I came up with my t-shirts and the podcast I still can do personally, but I'm like, okay, this is gonna seem like I'm just putting my fingers in all these different pies and I don't know.
But I agree with you. That does make sense. Like, personality is a big part of it. So like if you come out with something, it can transition into like lifestyle. Like my personal page can transition into lifestyle, like fashion. So just like you said, like with your podcast, it depends on your personality. But if you understand, you're changing the conjecture of things. So if you're changing what you're posting, how often you're posting, or even the content, and it changes that brand identity, you have to pivot to another page.
Right.
I
agree.
Or you should. People don't.
I totally agree. You still want to be like, I think I have a pretty decent personal page, but if you look at the podcast page, I mean, we got memes, we got shout out, you know what I'm saying? It just kind of doesn't really, the color scheme is not the same. It's just kind of like all over the place. And I don't want
Y'all look at it.
Yeah. Mine is a little, mine is a little different. I started out freelancing, but before I was freelancing, me and Alicia both were kind of, I guess you could say, we were kind of like online personalities before, like during the MySpace era. Yeah. So I think that's just always been me. So people know me from that, and that's like where I built my following from.
That's the personality piece. You know what I'm saying? So if
people come to my page, they expect to see that. They expect me to see me being myself, and I just, advocate for me being myself all the time and showing my kind of like my personal life a little bit. I definitely scaled back a lot because I used to overshare a lot. And it came back and bit me in the ass. But I definitely just share, little bits and pieces or whatever. But I definitely make sure I show my personality because I noticed that brings more engagement to my page.
That's what. Listen, Draco is literally like one of my favorite pieces, like favorite people to follow. His feeds are the makeup artistry is bomb when he posting the foolishness in the stories. It's just nailed. Like I love following you. I love it.
Every day, I always tell people one thing about me, I'm going to talk shit. Okay.
Period. I've been trying to do more vocal. I don't really like posting. I don't even.
No, but the thing about it is, even though I talk to you pretty much every day, I think that your personality on social media is like needed.
It is.
Because
It is.
I think that why it's needed is because we have a lot of people that's online that are very that are in the corporate world. They work corporate jobs but they're not as like, I don't know, like they don't have.
They're not like me because I'm always sticking out.
It's always kind of like I love people that exceed and do well, but I think that where my line draws is I'm not really the type of person that can just be around people that are like bougie. Like you got to give me bougie.
Yeah, I'm not.
You got to give me a human layer. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can't. I don't know, but I think that you showing your personality, it definitely will probably like. I mean, I don't know. You definitely are extra private though, so you don't be wanting all them people on your page.
See, I only post when I do something fun, like go hiking, go on a trip. Everything. Now, I've lately been trying to make videos like random. So, like, I did a review for a product which got oh my god, I was flooded. I was like, you know what, maybe I should start doing this more. But it just doesn't feel natural when I try to force it. It just has to hit me. But maybe I should get out of there. I don't know. But I just want it to seem natural. And I don't want to sound like I don't ever want to be a salesperson. Like if I ever get to a point where I'm like influencer status, I still want it to be organic and trustworthy, not just
Yeah, I agree.
Like Alonzo.
Yes. Oh my, he does a great job of personality. Because he if he stopped doing hair, I would still follow him for his TikToks.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it's hilarious. I love everything he posts. And then like again, the hair, everything.
So where did okay, you said a little bit of it earlier, but I wanted to ask, so before you started, have you always done makeup or did you just go straight into like high up retail with makeup?
So just basically my career journey is what you want to know. Okay.
Yeah.
So I started my undergrad was in computer science. I used to work for Verizon. So I used to work in telecommunications. Okay. So technical support. So I did all that. I moved to Atlanta in 2008.
Where are you from? You said Detroit, right?
From Detroit. So I moved to Atlanta in 2008. And like I said, I wanted to take a chance. I always liked makeup. So I used to work freelance for MAC when I was, 18? So I used to work for Nordstrom. So I started out with just dibbling and dabbling. I wanted to go, before I completed my undergraduate, I wanted to go to school for fashion design. And my dad was like, am I paying for that? But honestly, look what I'm doing now, right? Textiling, all it, right? So I knew what I wanted to do.
You had your head in the right space. It just didn't seem logical at that time for him because it was probably like a hobby, not a career. Yeah,
exactly. So even the brand now demystifies. Even though I love my parents, it demystifies what the preset that they had for me. So I've done corporate, right? So I started freelancing with cosmetics when I was like probably 18 or 19. I didn't even wear makeup because I don't have to. Like I didn't have to wear makeup.
Period.
Yeah, so, period. Same.
So after about 2012 is when I started working in cosmetics at a professional capacity. So in 2012, I stopped working at Verizon. And then I was like, well, let me take a chance and see, what's cute. Let me see if I can do what I do. So then my very first job is I started working as a counter manager for Clinique. So I've done retail at every capacity. I've been a counter manager. I've been a store manager. I've been a regional field executive. So from Clinique, I worked for Chanel as a territory manager for Chanel. And then after I worked for Chanel, I was a regional director for Proactive, which is, the pimple people.
Okay.
So I really enjoyed that.
Question. Do you remember when Tinashe was like the spokesperson for why people do not remember that? She was like she had an endorsement with them and she wasn't even popular yet.
He was, and that was like, so the people that ran that promotion is Gunthy and Ranker. That's the people like if you stay up late night and you watch these commercials. So yeah, I definitely remember.
Thank you. I'm not crazy. I'm like, bro, that's Tinashe. I remember.
Yeah. Diddy.
I don't remember that.
What? Diddy was on there too. So anyway, so I did that.
I don't remember when Tinashe was on there.
Yeah, but it's so funny because you're not the only person that asked me that. They're like, you remember that? I'm like, yeah.
Yes, and I'm like, now because they kicked it on the ad as if she was a pop star. I'm like, we don't know this girl.
But it said pop star and she had a little green candy. What'd you say?
Tinashe has 7 albums.
No, but at this time, she was nobody
knew who she
her.
was.
Like nobody. She wasn't even she wasn't even a new artist. She was a paid actress in my eyes at the time.
Wow.
You got to find it for Draco and send it to him.
Wait, you're gonna be like, I wish I remember this. I used to know the
It
song.
looks different, like completely.
It's probably on YouTube.
Gotta be.
It gotta be.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, so what was this? Okay, so after Proactive, since it was so skincare heavy, it wasn't familiar, it wasn't like that creative burn or you know what I mean? I wasn't getting that fulfilled. So I was like, well, let me do something else. So then I moved from Atlanta to Charlotte. Like my position took me to Charlotte because I can live anywhere I wanted to live because I had such a large territory.
Oh, yeah.
So I moved to Charlotte and then I started working again for Mac as an 18-hour. So I worked 7 days a week. I worked literally I may fly to one of my Florida stores, like maybe on Tuesday, do a round, fly back on Friday and go work for Mac Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Because that was my creative outlet. Like it wasn't about the money, right? So after that, I ended up quitting Proactive because I loved it was never about the money for me. Because that's the thing, if you operate in passion, the money comes. Like the money will always come.
Oh, yeah.
So
Sure.
I ended up quitting Proactive and started working for Mac, and I was a manager for Mac, and I moved to Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like a ghost town, child.
Yeah, so that's what. So it wasn't for coming from Atlanta. That wasn't for me. I'm used to you can go get sushi 2 a.m. in the morning, like you know what I mean.
Excellent.
So that is kind of my career with that. But television and film came when I started working at Mac. I always tell you guys I never was the Mac girl, like the mean girl. That was never me.
Me either. And they used to hate me for it because I got all the damn
sales.
sales.
Like and listen, I just said this last night. Like when people come in with, they're back to Mac, this is a person that's spending money. Like, why are you trying to treat this person funny? So I met my first department head when I was working at Mac. So that was back in 2015. So that is when my television and film career began. So that's when you get to scale the money. You're looking like, okay, this is retail money. And then this is industry money. So that's basically how I started that. So one of my first projects was a lot of indie projects. I did a couple things for Lifetime. When I came to Atlanta, one of my first day playing projects when I came back to Atlanta was Saints and Sinners with Jeremy Dale.
Yeah.
So I did a couple projects, like a couple day plays with that, and then just started breaking into the industry that way.
Okay. I've had my days, like I said, my day plays. I don't think I'm ready for that yet.
Yes, you are, but go on.
Only reason why I say that is because I do like the money, I do like the pay, but I'm more like a fast-paced person. Like I like to be out. You know what I'm saying? Like I just feel like I want to be more so like I don't even want to say on the scene, because realistically, when I'm not working, for the most part, 75% of the time, I'm at home. Partially because of COVID, but
partially because of COVID,
but for the most part, I'm an at home person. And I feel like when I work those day playing jobs, it drained me to death.
Oh, it's very tough. It is tough.
Y'all not sharing what y'all talking about?
So day player is
we talking in code.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So basically, when you're a day player, Alicia, a day player is a person who is not necessarily hired in the industry as a makeup artist for a movie or whatever.
Permanent person. It's like an on-call makeup artist.
Okay.
Exactly. So this is a spot filler. So say, for instance, somebody can't come to work that day. They're like, we need a day player to fill this spot. So they'll call in somebody to come in.
Okay. We in a regular life, we just call that on call.
Well, it's the same thing. On call, day player, all of the things.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was very Mac-ish. Like it definitely had that
very clicky. Feel. I agree with that 100%. Well, actually 1,000%. It is very clicky, and again, that brings it back to why I started the brand, because I feel like I've worked at every capacity, like in makeup artistry, and I've worked at Mac, well, Draco said it the same too. We've worked in a capacity where people, you know, it's fun to bully people. I wanted a culture that was completely opposite of that. I've worked on set and people have, you know, looked at me different or treated me different because I'm younger and fresher, you know, than maybe, right?
Period.
You know, so I didn't want that. 'Cause I know what that feels like to be on the set of, you know, New York Fashion Week or Paris Fashion Week, and you're afraid to ask someone because everybody's so pretentious. So that's basically what I wanted to create, like a safe space for creatives. That's basically what it was, you know?
I got kicked off a whole set in New York my first time.
Look, I don't even need to know what happened. They were hating.
They kicked me off. They kicked me off, but it was cool. So my story is a little different, and I will say that I don't want to say envy. That's a harsh word, but I do like really look up to people who started their careers off in school. Now the reason why is because I feel like people who have backgrounds in like marketing and all these different type of degrees, they do have a level of, for one, professionalism. They have a certain way they just go about stuff, and they have some business about themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I think for a person like me who started off at a salon, like my first makeup job was at a salon for 3 years, and I went to another salon for 3 years. It's different because we are operating off of a get money mindset. So we're not operating off of okay, let's sit down and plan this out, how we want this to go, blah, blah, blah. I'm operating off of I need to pay my bills and da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't start making
it's like fast paced.
Yeah.
Kind of like not having that like structure.
Exactly. And I didn't start, that's not the reason why I started makeup. And I actually went to school for fashion design too. But
see, I love me some Draco, honey.
See, look, it's aligned with the universe.
There we go.
The stars. And all the rocks and stuff.
All the rocks and
yeah, so I always kind of felt like, because even back then, like I would be happy to meet other makeup artists just because I wanted to learn. I really didn't know what I was doing. Like I would learn on YouTube, but I learned a lot from drag queens because those were people who did stuff that I didn't know how to do. Like I would look at regular makeup and I'm like, child, I could do that in my sleep, girl. Where is the cut crease? I learned how to do a cut crease in 2009.
Look,
you know what I'm saying? Like, do me a cut crease, do me, whatever. But I noticed that afterwards, everybody just kept saying they worked for Mac first. Anybody that was successful in the industry, like even with my idol at the time was Queen Latifah's makeup artist, Sam Fine. He was like the highest paid makeup artist during that time. And he always said that he worked at Mac. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to just go work for Mac. And
I would say, I think that I honestly can say, like, Mac as the company, I think they were a great company. The people that were in management weren't a vibe for me. But I will say the company itself has implemented a lot of structure, like as far as like how to secure, like a lot of people ask about my business, like, oh, how do you know to do this or how do you know to do that? Which I'm sure you guys ask too, but it comes natural, back to Draco's point about either not really the education as far as like college education, is pretty much the experience too. The education kind of gives you like that edge, but when you honestly think about it, it's really just the experience and applying what you've learned. Like every job I've had, I've applied what I wouldn't have done. So to my business, like whatever I've learned at every company, I run my business on their flaws, like what I didn't like about their business. That's how I basically formulated mine. Like, oh, I don't like this. I'm not doing this on mine.
I'm at the point in my career now where I can actually say that. But at one point in time, I just had to do it because I need to pay.
That's it. And that's it.
So that's just it. I'm like, child, come home and just stare at the wall for about 10 minutes and just be like, okay, just.
Is your brand your full-time gig? Like, is that really where your primary source of income comes from? How did you like determine like, all right, I'm about to stop working for the man? Did you have to like was there a point where you had to sacrifice finances? Like how do you just know? Like,
listen, Y'all have no idea. Okay, so when I first, as an answer to the first question, like why I decided to go full time, it really was like let me give you the journey. So when I first started the brand, which was June of last year, I was working at every capacity. I'm working as a freelance artist, working on several television and film projects. And then I'm also working a full-time job as a area director. So I had like 37 stores. So I'm literally working to get this capital because, a lot of Black businesses are not financed.
Yeah.
So you just don't get capital. You just don't get a lot of things. And I know for a fact that my credit score was way above, like it was like high 700s, and I couldn't secure a loan, but
wow.
I can honestly say one of my non-Black counterparts started a business the same time as mine, and she secured like 60,000 in capital. So that's the thing. Wow. That's the thing. Like systematic, like racism, that's a thing. So anywho,
sure.
I was forced to hustle, like, making sure that I'm getting this money up and making sure that I need to do what was necessary to propel the business forward. Because again, Black businesses are underfunded. They just are. So once I started, that was in June, we did IMATS Atlanta in November. It was 100% hustle. Like that's basically, what it was. But what I like to tell people that like to start want to start new businesses and such, you have to keep that focus. Like I always knew what I wanted my brand to be, and I just stuck with it. That's the only difference between, like, anybody can make a brand, you will make mistakes, but basically determining that vision, like this is what I want to do, and that is how you stick with it. But as the answer to your question, when you were saying, well, how did you know, or how did you decide to go full time? COVID decided for me to go full time because I was laid off from my other job as an area director. And it was fine because my business was already ready.
Yeah.
I had already determined, like I said, establishing that vision. I had already determined, like, okay, this is going to be my last year in retail, because I started seeing, I'm a visionary. I started to seeing the market change and turn. You're in Sephora for 5-6 hours. You're selling 2-3 pieces. These people are not going to keep paying you, a 6-figure salary, and their product is not moving. So I had to make sure I pivoted and was like, okay, before the whole layoff happened, I decided this was my last year in retail because I wasn't passionate about it. You ever done something on autopilot? Like it's paying your bill. You're like,
my passion dwindles after 90 days of every job I've ever had.
Yeah, listen.
That's it.
But I always move on to bigger and better every time.
Yeah, every time she definitely get a better job. But if you see Alicia's resume, you will fall on the floor.
But listen, this is the thing. Like, back in the day, I said this on like another interview that I did. Back in the day, like when millennials and people who are right under millennials, we are people that we're smarter. And this is a statistically proven fact. We're smarter. What we do is we don't have to stay on, a job for X amount of years, or because we're going to get the experience that we need and we're going to move on.
And that's what I do.
We're going to be better at everything that we do. So if you're in a job 6 months, 4 months, like the average median for like a millennial to be like on a job is like a year, 18 months, somewhere in there. So times are just changing. Like, I don't have to be on this job because it's stifled. We don't like to feel stifled. We're like, what is this? Y'all not promoting?
And as soon as I find out I can get 20,000 more for the same skill set and then learn something else,
we're smarter.
I'm out, love.
We're smarter. So that's what it's about. It's about being smart, like in the game. But like I said, COVID will push you. It pushed you and do, but you should always have a plan. A lot of people will be on the platform and get upset, like, oh, well, I'm sick of my job. I'm going to quit. Not if you don't have a plan.
Exactly.
Yeah,
if you don't have a plan, it doesn't even have to be monetary. It's just, I didn't have a monetary plan. I just said that, this is my last year in retail and I'm going to go for this. And I basically just applied everything that I was paid to do as an executive to my brand.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
When you want Alicia to do that, because I feel like she does exceptionally well at her job working in corporate America, but I feel like she has a lot to offer the world, and I need her.
I do, but you know what? What gets me? What gets me is the large salary that I get. And I know it shouldn't be about that, but I have a phobia of being poor again. And it's really tough for me. Like, I do devote time unto my extracurricular brand. I do, but I'd be so drained from my 9 to 5. I'm just like,
and you know what I also want to say? I also would like to say that like full-time entrepreneurial pursuits, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not.
If I had a position where I was forced to leave my job, I'd be doing it full time.
But really it's not. So like you could just be gathering your bearings. Like what works for me, I want to dibble here, I want to dabble there, because it takes money. Like when people try to knock 9 to 5s or, you know, jobs at corporate capacities, again, I take offense to that because
for sure, me too.
Yeah, because I bankrolled my business off of my corporate salary. So
that's what I'm saying, B. Simone. But you know, I actually like working. I don't have a problem working 9 to 5, and my desire was never to be a full-time entrepreneur, but I have discovered things that I like to do that can generate income. And so I think for me, I just need to find the ability to devote the passion for my 9 to 5, because I'm not really passionate about it, I'm just really good at it, into my personal stuff. I know, and I think of these things all the time. It crosses my mind, but I'd be like, man,
you have to monetize them. That's what I teach. Don't I teach that, Draco? You have to monetize your talents. Like a idea is merely a thought if you don't monetize it.
Literally, somebody else gonna do it, and I'm ready to fight. Once you I think my biggest struggle is like a social media brand, not for my personal page, but I've been really trying to figure out ways, like for the podcast, for example. Like, we get listeners, but I think our biggest thing is not only acquiring new listeners, but keeping them. Like, you know,
retaining them.
The numbers, but like if we're getting new listeners, but it's the same amount from last week, that means we didn't do something to keep their attention. So I think for me, I've been kind of struggling with identifying like, what do people want to see on social media? We get a lot of engagement from like memes and stuff, from sharing, but I don't know if those people even know. They probably just repost it. You know what I mean? I don't really know if that's like helping.
If they know your brand mission or brand identity.
Right. No, I think they just be like, oh, that's funny. Girl, look at this. I think, so my question for you is just, how did you feel like how did you determine the look and feel for your brand? Like, what made you feel like, is it because you thought this was cute and I'm going to go with this? Or was it just like, you know, people tend to respond well when I post this? Or when how did you kind of identify that?
How do you gauge okay, I see what you're saying. How do you gauge like your audience, like what to post?
Yeah, and what attracts people? Because your page has a lot of followers, and I'm interested in having that one day. So I just want to.
You will. So basically, I want to go back to what Draco has said. Like we talked about earlier, like personality. I think that's a huge component of it, because when I first launched it last year, I didn't really start. This is what I was doing. I conducted market research. So basically, I let the brand. I didn't say it was Black owned or nothing at first, because I wanted to see the consensus. I wanted to see what is my target market, what does my buy-in demographic look like. I literally ran an analysis. So from like June to IMAX was in November. So for my first like fiscal, so from like July to January, I studied the business. And so from, you know, I have so many different things in place. And this is the thing that I feel like a lot of influencers or like people that have these different brands, they're not transparent about. And analytics is a big part of my business.
It's a big part of my career.
Maybe that's that's the corporate side of us. Like a lot of people make it seem like, okay, I'm going to start this business and it's going to be great. It's going to be successful. I don't care how much personality you have. I don't care how much education that you have. If you are not looking at analytics, your business is not living its best life. It's not.
Facts.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a really important piece of my business, like making sure that I skew the landscape. So looking at, you know, I was from July to January, I looked at, okay, what's the buying demographic? And I noticed like unanimously it was Black women. So it's Black women. So it's Black women. There was, you know, brown women too. You know, and it definitely, I have like, you know, boys by the brand too, but it's 79% women. That's what it is. So that I gathered that from analytics. So back to your question, when you were saying, how did I decipher things? I started coming on my platform probably February. And I started in February with like 1,500 followers. I have now close to 9,000 followers because of the personality piece and making sure that if I post something, I look at what it is. I learn what my followers like. So for example, like my page, my followers like beautiful images. So I might repost something from Draco or something that's like super dope. So they're going to respond to that, making sure that you're posting at the proper times and studying how that goes. So like when you post something, it's kind of like putting a letter in the mail. When you put a letter in the mail, you wouldn't just put it in there blank, right? Mm-hmm. You're gonna make sure it has the proper postage, make sure it has the proper return address. And that is how you want your social media to go. You want it to be aesthetically pleasing, because if your audience doesn't know who you are, what incentive do they have to follow you? So it goes back to brand identity. Make sense?
Absolutely. That's the struggle house right now.
It's an easy fix.
I just want to be like, listen, y'all, stay. I'm telling you, we funny.
You gotta get, like, you have to incorporate more content that, because you're getting engagement, as you were saying, you're saying that you're getting engagement, but invite them for a conversation, like maybe post something and then, ask for their input. But the biggest thing I can say that will help you is to make sure that you're monitoring and surveying what it is you put out. So do they engage more on your stories? Do they engage more on certain types of posts? Like you mentioned, like memes. Like you just kind of have to pay attention or study, because your followers is going to depict what happens. Like honestly, if you care enough about your followers, you basically put your brand material based off of what they like. I think that's the smartest way to do it.
That makes sense.
So yeah.
Amen, Queen. Back me.
Back me.
Period.
Y'all are horrible. I love that song.
I have another question. You got a question, Draco?
No, I want you to get it all out, Queen, because I want to know too.
How do you stay organized with what you're doing? Like, you have a regular page, you have a business page. Like, do you schedule posts? Do things just come to you sporadically? Like, what do you do to stay organized with knowing what goes out and how, I guess?
So if anybody that knows me, they know that I'm very anal, and again, that could be the corporate side. If it's not on my Outlook, it doesn't exist.
Oh,
like I'm so big with
my calendar is.
Yeah,
I got a calendar to make sure my homeowner's insurance is renewed.
Listen, hold on, because I want you to see my calendar. If it's not on Outlook, it doesn't exist. So,
I use my calendar. But I've been using that for maybe like 2 years now. I definitely, when it comes down to like my personal appointments, I book it. I have it set up to where if you book on my site, it'll automatically take the deposit, and then it'll add it not only to my app for my site, but it'll add it to my iCalendar too. Okay. So that way I won't have to worry about it. Like it has literally everything that I need there. Phone number.
It streamlines it for you.
Yes. My problem comes in because just me working in this industry, nothing is consistent, and nothing is always going to be scheduled. Like I've been begging these people, since Sunday, because they asked me how my week is looking. I kind of kept it open because I knew I just kind of like gauged. I'm like, all right, I know they're gonna hit me up. This girl has got this going on, so I know I'm gonna have to do this, and this. Right. But my problem is that they just throw stuff at me, and then I have to. This is my only job, and I have to take the gig. But I also have to do, because it kind of slowed me down from a lot of stuff. Like I'm doing a podcast. I definitely had a food page. I don't even eat the way I used to eat before because of my schedule. Like mostly it's because of my schedule. Like I can't even eat healthy because I'm moving so much.
I know what that's about, especially set life.
It's just so hard. Like I don't think people understand. Like I wish people can have a day in my world, or just a week. Just so they can kind of understand, because I think that a lot of people,
behind the scenes life is tough. It's tough.
Yes, and I be trying to explain to people like I try to explain to people like I don't purposely try to be inconsistent with the way that I work, but I think you have to kind of come over here and just see what I'm doing in order to fully just understand. Like I literally have no downtime, because I have to squeeze in. Like even now, like after we record, I got my stuff already packed in the car. I'm out the door.
Right. I'm actually going to
I
open
think
up
for
my work
you,
computer again, and then I'm about to edit this episode with my right hand at the same time.
Oh my God. Yeah. So it's like, it just, I don't know. I think it's just kind of hard for me to just maneuver through life and then still trying to have a personal life and a social life. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, I guess because I have so much clutter and just so much like, so many different things that I have to work on. And then on top of that, making sure I'm good. I don't even be wanting a social life because I can't even do it.
Okay. So it's the time management. See, it's the time management for me.
Okay. And that's what I suck at.
That's the thing. So what happens is, okay, so when you get in a situation, it was funny because I was telling Marquise this too. When you get in a situation where it's like, oh, like you feel overwhelmed, because as creatives, I don't care if you're a makeup artist or whoever, as a creative, a person that is multi-talented, multifaceted in their dealings, you are going to have to scale back. I love what I do so much. You too, you're self-employed. When you love what you do, you can keep going. But if you're no good, and if you don't force yourself to say, okay, like to step back,
yeah,
you're gonna get burnout. So my husband is crazy. So
I knew I seen a rock on that finger.
you gotta you gotta bring it back, so you really have to bring it back. So you gotta take time for yourself, because if you are messed up or if you're tired or if you're irritable, you're not your best. You're not fresh. So even if you're taking because it's going to be there. It's going to be there. So what I'll do is to make sure with your time management that you literally look out, like plan your day. Okay, do a little here, a little there. And then this is the biggest lesson that I've learned, like in the past, like maybe 2 or 3 months. My favorite cousin is a Taurus.
The queen.
And so she was just basically saying that you have to do a cutoff. Like you have to do that. So maybe the biggest lesson is take what it is that you want and think about like, okay, can I come back to this? If you're spending too much time on something, if you're struggling with something, you got a whole bunch of stuff to do, either delegate it to somebody else or come back to it. Because if you're depositing all of that energy, you're going to be drained. And then you're a perfectionist, Taurus.
It's just,
You don't have to.
I really try my hardest to just be so organized when it comes to my business, but it's like,
I bet your business is flawless. I'm talking about your personal time management for you.
Oh yeah, my personal time management sucks, and I think mostly just because like I realize that me being the person that I am, I need to, in order for me to function correctly, I need to have solitude. I cannot have no noise. I can't have no noise. I can't really function like that. Like I can't, I have to like really just kind of just sit down. First of all, I need to rest. So I need to get a nap in.
First of all, let me get a nap.
Yeah. And then I need to just really just take time to be by myself and just
regroup.
Yeah, I gotta regroup. I like every time. Like if I don't, it ain't gonna work.
You got it. That's what you have to do. You gotta take time. That's the best lesson I've learned. Like if you got a whole bunch of stuff to do and you're spending too much time on something, either put it on pause or delegate it for somebody else to do it. Like I used to do my own website, my own coding, I'll do it because I'm a crazy Leo. I'll do it.
Wow, that's my rising sign of Leo. I'm the same way.
That's probably why.
I don't know nothing about no rising sign, but I know the sun sets in the east and it rises in the west. What rises in the east, sets in the west.
My rising and my moon sun is Leo, both of them.
See that?
But my sun sign is a Taurus, okay, and that's what I identify with.
So I'm a Leo, but I'm a Sagittarius rising in a Aries moon. I'm all fire.
Yeah.
Listen.
Y'all, I agree.
Spicy.
You don't even know.
Spicy.
That's awesome. No, I appreciate you.
I'm telling you. And I'm beyond you, so I'm gonna be like, did you take a break today? You have to. You have to.
Yeah, I did say I'm gonna start doing that. I need to be more outside because I'm using this COVID-19 as like a crutch to just be inside because I like being inside
You
all the
like
time.
solitude. You got to spend, even if you got to spend time in nature for, you know what I mean? Just to sit outside. Like sometimes I just sit on my back porch with like no shoes on to like ground and do like computer work because
Oh yeah,
you're, you know, taking advantage of it. But I'm telling you, you have to
girl, it
structure
be
your.
hot. I ain't with this heat. I don't think I like summer no more. I'm not no hot. I'm not. Mm-mm.
Why is it so hot?
It's real. When they said hot girl summer, they was not joking.
I like it hot.
It's
Real
too hot.
hot, like right now, hot.
I do.
Mm-mm.
I know. Call me crazy.
Like,
I can't. Like, give me fall. I want a hoodie.
Yeah, I take a good 80, 79, 80 degree weather, but I like it hot. I mean, it is sweaty and sticky, but I hate being cold. Like,
I
I'm
don't
melting.
like being cold either. Yeah, but if I had a choice of being hot and cold, I would choose cold over hot.
Same.
I don't like the sweat. Ugh.
Same. Give me some coal. I got that from my mama.
Yeah.
For makeup pays my bills, do you plan to expand? Like, do you have employees, or are you the one
I
woman?
have contract employees. Contracted
Come
employees.
on.
So I have a digital analyst. I have a graphic designer. I have and my accountant.
Come on. Okay, I was about to say, do you plan to expand? Okay, the expansion is in progress. Okay. Now, what do you do to find good talent? Do you kind of use social media?
I think that I do a lot of, I'm really big on smaller brands because I'm able to see like the talent. A lot of people that are like tenured in business, like especially in the industry, are threatened by talent of others. When really you should work smarter by banding with those individuals. So that's what I've done. So actually my graphic designer is my client. It's a makeup client. Like I did her makeup probably like 3 years ago. And she's a person that, you know, she was a professional woman. I'm a professional woman. She liked the fact that I do like skin like makeup. So she was my client turned contracted employee. So
Okay.
referral. But the same thing with my graphic designer. I used to work at Anastasia with her. She was actually my area trainer. She's actually my graphic designer now. So networking, I think that networking is so important. I also think supporting smaller businesses that are professional.
Yes.
That's a big deal. Like
I
for
feel like
me,
that's hard too, because things look good, and then you maybe set up a meeting or something like that, and it's just like.
but see, that's a red flag. So the thing is, you know, we talked about that like on one of my lives about like Black enterprise. And I feel it's so important to make sure that you identify who you are in the circuit. Like it's so many talented, you know, young creatives, but when you're doing stuff like, you know, showing up late, you know, using profanity in front of your clients, you know what I mean? Different things that make us look bad as a collective, like, you know, different things that make old people look at us like,
Like, babe.
Sure.
you know, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know, that makes me think of something. There are a lot of times, I mean, I saw it today where people who like basically post from their brand page and are like talking about people, or they'll be like, y'all only support because of this, and that, or y'all only do this, or calling people out. It's just really unprofessional. And I'm like, you know, to me, that's almost like if I went to Target today and a manager reprimanded an employee in my face. Like, that's not really cool. It's kind of weird. And
They
it's,
don't know business etiquette. This is just the basic, honestly, like if we look at the culture of like business aesthetics, especially like in digital media, it's honestly very easy to, you know, and I'm not saying this from a place of ego, but it's very easy to capitalize on a market because I operate in integrity. I'm truly professional and I know what I'm talking about. So in a culture where it's so many, you know, hands in the pot, I don't worry about things like that because I know that you're a person that probably was a viral sensation, a regular person that doesn't have any education, not professional education, I'm just saying any knowledge. You know what I mean? Like literally, okay, I put this video out here. Okay, I got 2 million followers and boom. They don't know.
You learning how to move.
Correct. They don't have any formal, and I'm not saying education as far as a degree. I'm saying just any education period. Like they're ignorant to how to, you know, price a product, how to get brand aesthetic, how to, do a market campaign, like things like that. So when you are a person that is applying what you've learned from corporate to your business, it's going to jet set because you have a formula, versus someone who, again, you may have been a viral sensation, you may be on TV, and you feel like, oh, I got these people, let me capitalize off these followers. That's not my mentality.
Yeah.
And people that do things like that, they always fall through the cracks.
I actually read an article maybe about 5 or 6 years ago about startups that get a lot of funding up front and they don't last because they didn't really have to get it out the mud. They knew they had an idea and they just wanted the finances to back it up. But now they're like, all right, we got the money. Let's get the best this, the best that. But they don't really know that. They just want things to just come at them. Like guaranteed.
They're not budgeting.
Exactly.
They're not doing,
they
they're
haven't
not
made
forecasting. Exactly. And then it's so many, different elements to business. It's not just, okay, you got followers, now what? That's basically what it is. Like, you have to make sure that you are being, treating your followers, because I don't call my followers, they're like my virtual friends. But
oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but you want to make sure that you're being, getting content and giving products that are going to appease your audience, so that your audience doesn't feel like, you don't sell anything that you wouldn't sell yourself.
Oh, yeah,
I say that all the time. Like, would you, like, I've received things that I have ordered things that have taken weeks to get to me. I've reached out.
That's customer service. Like,
and it's like, would you want this somewhere else? And if I
don't want this.
If I was reaching out on behalf of President Obama, you would have hand stitched this stuff together and brought it to my front door with white gloves on. But that's neither here nor there.
Why? I don't see it. I don't hear it.
What was I about to say? I just lost my train of thought. Holla. Okay, when it came to establishing your community, I know you mentioned it's a community, it's a brand within a brand, right? When it comes to like investing in your merchandise and things, like how did you identify like what should I know this probably has a lot to do with like knowing your audience and things of that nature, but for me, I'm like, do I want to invest $5,000? Can I afford to lose $5,000?
Well, okay, so it depends. So like, this is like, you have to look market research. It goes back to that. It really is that simple. So this is where a lot of big conglomerate companies fail. Like Draco, a lot of big like Tarte and Anastasia, these really big companies, they came out with like, you remember holographic highlighters?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How many of those did we see? Right?
I never
so
used
the
it.
problem, because it's like, the thing is with conglomerate companies, they don't take the time to survey the landscape. Because if you got 100 brands coming out with this everybody is following suit. Everybody is so unoriginal in this day and time that we live in, right? So what I do is I survey the landscape. I look and see, okay, so this is same. Okay, so I just launched a set bag, right? Mm-hmm. So my set bag, everybody has a set bag that works at the capacity, and they're sick of them. They either break, they stain, like they use the plastic is called PVC. So basically, being able to identify an opportunity within the industry, and I'm like, everybody hates their set bags. Why not design a better one? So
I have about 40 because of that reason alone. They rip, they get dirty, they get cloudy.
It's just, and then the thing is, if I'm putting my, product in something like this, I know that if I can appreciate this, I know that my counterparts will. So that's kind of like what I do with my launches. So just basically listening to my audience as well, like listening to what it is that they're saying that they want, and then piloting things. Like a lot of people through Instagram, they'll put like polls and questions like for fun and games, but that's actually a tool for marketing research. If you really have that relationship with your audience, they will tell you what they want. I came up with totes on my own, but like if I'm doing different colors for like a shirt or something, I will ask them, and then they'll say, hey, we, have them vote, but people's choice, what are people's choice?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an easy way.
Do you feel like it's like, how do you feel about like, okay, for example, sometimes people will get into the restaurant industry. They'll get into like you said, the industry, the world that we live in right now, anybody can start any kind of business anymore. Mm-hmm. Everybody's selling plates. They're selling waist beads, blah, blah.
I love it. Everybody's selling plates. Where plates at?
So do you think it's best to invest in a brand that you're more passionate about? Because it seems like people are more, I mean, it's nothing wrong with being in it for money, but that's kind of what it seems like. It's like, ooh, if I use this food stamp card, get some ribs, make some plates, I can flip it.
I'm not playing. I'm not doing this. I'm not.
But it's not a passion. It's like I didn't even care about cooking before. I was cooking to survive. But it's like, should I capitalize on this? Because people do need food. Like what? Like how do you do you think it's better to just stick to a passion or?
I think whatever you decide, like I don't like to really say whether you should what you should or should not do. I say be smart about it. Okay. I say be smart because if you are a person that maybe you are engaged in doing something just for the money, just like as a side hustle or just to see kind of where it can go, I think have a plan for it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if I'm going to invest this much and you can forecast how much you're going to make from that. Okay, so if I invest this and then I make that, either have a plan so you can either pull out of it, or if you're on the other side of the tracks, which is, you're passionate about it is a baby, you want to grow it, you're going to have to, that's going to take dedication.
You're right. What an analogy. No, you're right. Have you ever had any failure moments in your business where you were just like, maybe I need to head down to the unemployment office?
No.
Can you please stop with the government assistance? It's wearing me out.
What? Hilarious.
I'm saying, like, if you don't have a job, they help you find a job.
Well, let me see. I don't want to say I've had any failure moments because I'm a person where now things, again, you will hit snafus. So like a snafu for me is like, if it's delayed, like COVID has everything delayed. So like, delayed shipment, like for example, I had an overseas supplier, but I had to end up, pivoting to a local supplier. And that offsets a lot of your presets, if you will, like how much money you spend, like your COG, which is cost of goods. That might be a little higher, like different things like that. But, making sure that you're just staying consistent and, itemizing it. You have to see your vision. You got to see your plan. And if you don't have vision, if you don't have plan, you don't have a brand. Well, that mime.
At all, you just got an Instagram account asking for follow backs.
Look,
I don't like
our trigger, honey.
So, I don't know if I have any other questions.
Some really good questions. I didn't even think about it.
I got some cute questions.
Some real good questions.
Listen, I got like 3 different accounts I'm trying to run at the same time. I be fried and lost. 4 actually. One of them is a Finsta. I'm joking.
Hilarious.
All right, so I think we are going to wrap up. We've been over an hour. We normally record for like an hour, but I mean, we was having fun. Anywho, I'm so glad that you came to chat with us today, Danny. I really appreciate you. I love your brand, of course. I love you as a person. You are very, very inspiring.
Thank you.
You always gonna get some support from me.
Yes, it was very nice to meet you.
It's such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Anytime you guys ever need anything, let me know.
Yeah, I might need your consultation services. Send me the invoice or whatever's necessary.
They just get them analytics, like consultation, like literally, because with creatives, that's really kind of why it works. A lot of times you have these crazy ass influencers that are charging an arm and a leg. It's no reason why you should be charging $1,000 for shit people could Google. It's just insane.
Yeah.
Yes, and you're right. I've seen that before, and I'm like,
it's ridiculous. And it's like
they selling the plug.
But the thing is, you're not even. I can see. Well, I really can't see it, but it would be more of an integral pursuit if you are selling something that is of value, right? I can say, okay, they're selling something of value, fine. These people are not selling things of value. They are doing by means of trickery, and they're not helping people. Generally, when I do a consultation, that's it. Like creatives are so self-sufficient. You just need to connect. I help you connect the dots. I tell you about like what needs to be done. I can survey, your landscape, your digital landscape, and just show you how to go. Like I said, both of y'all are smart. You'll get it.
I know, but I'm trying to make some smart money. Okay.
Listen, consultation. Okay. Hello.
Okay, say less, but not for real. I know we got the potential to, make it bigger, but I'm gonna have a shirt to say podcast and pays my bills.
Period. Come on.
Ready to change this LinkedIn up. Okay, so I know earlier in the episode we asked you about a Black business that you wanted to share. Do you care to tell the people who it is?
Yes. So I love Chloe plus Christian from my good friend Scooby West. So he has he's a fellow makeup artist as well. He has like a planning company that's absolutely amazing, like bridal eventing and all that. But what I love remotely and also immediately as well, he has these lipsticks that are called Chloe plus Christian, and they're phenomenal. They're long wearing. They have excellent color payoff. That's probably like who I would plug. I love his products.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. I've never tried any of his products, but child.
And they smell good. You know, I'm funny about.
Oh yeah, me too.
Ooh, they smell good. They have good wear. They don't have like high clay, like how something has like a high talc concentration or clay, it'll crack or they're bomb.
Okay.
Oh, I just found it.
I'm gonna get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found Instagram?
Chloe plus Christian.
Yeah, he's so bomb.
Say less. Okay. All right. Well, I don't have any questions. I really do appreciate your insight. I think one thing I do appreciate is you giving information but making it like retainable, like not sounding like pretentious or it's just kind of like we all have similar end goals, and what does it take to meet those goals and not make it feel like, oh, so you said I need to get lipo and a BBL so to get the followers.
I'm not with her.
I'm not. I mean, I want to, but like, is that gonna get?
They're gonna get me. But even when it gets you, just like I said, when you secure the followers, how do you retain them?
Exactly.
How do you monetize them? Yeah. How do you turn leads to revenue? Like, they're not teaching that.
People are like we mentioned earlier. People are just selling that for $400, and they want to invite you to a brunch where they're basically just telling you that you're not working hard enough.
And then you like.
Yeah, and then the food be cold.
Like no refunds. Then you complain about them. They blocking you.
Whole time business was a cash washer. But anyway,
a sham,
or NutriBurst. But
can you stop with the NutriBurst?
I can't. It's real solid for NutriBurst right now. That's all I'm saying. Well, anyways, where can the people find you on social medias?
So everything is consistent. The website is Makeup Pays My Bills, and the same. Everything is consistent. Every handle on every platform is just simply Makeup Pays My Bills. Yeah.
There we go. So I'm gonna put all the information in the information box under the podcast episode.
Makeup Pays our bills.
Period. O-U-R-A.
O-W-R.
Hour. Ooh, Draco Hour.
Hour.
Well, thank you guys for listening to the 82nd episode of OD Podcast.
We out in these streets, baby.
We can qualify for a Kroger discount, love.
All right, man. Come on. You gotta chill. We got our YouTube plug already or something.
All right.
Do it.
Bye.
Bye.